All right, so we are on how do red blood cells work. We are going to talk about just red blood cells. How do they transport oxygen? Monday or tomorrow, we'll talk about platelets. So we're going to kind of go one by one and talk about how these different blood cells work. So the first thing you're going to write down, the first blank you have on page 6 is red blood cells contain hemoglobin. So you're going to write hemoglobin in that blank. Hemoglobin is a protein that is found in red blood cells. You can see the picture on the right. It is made up of atoms, just like everything inside of a cell. There's also a computer animation of like what a 3D picture of what it might look like on the left. So what exactly is hemoglobin? It is a molecule. So it's made of atoms and it's in our red blood cells and it transports oxygen. So its job is kind of like being a magnet and attracting oxygen and carrying it inside that red blood cell. If we didn't have hemoglobin, the oxygen wouldn't go to that red blood cell and the red blood cell wouldn't be able to carry it. So hemoglobin kind of acts as like a magnet. You can see that in the middle of the molecule, it has Fe. Fe stands for iron, and that is super important because if you don't get enough iron in your diet, you can't make hemoglobin. And so you're not going to be able to transport oxygen as well. So people who have anemia are generally more tired. Females are more at risk of having anemia because they bleed every single month. And when you lose a lot of blood, you're at risk of becoming anemic. So the next one just has a picture. You've seen this picture, but without oxygen and with oxygen, we see the green O's at the top. So the oxygen, it gets attracted to the hemoglobin, and the hemoglobin can carry that oxygen. So when we breathe in, when we take a really big breath, the oxygen goes into our lungs. Our lungs then have a high concentration of oxygen, and our red blood cells have a low concentration of oxygen. So we know that the oxygen is going to move using diffusion from high to low. So you can see the red arrow there from the little lungs to the blood vessels. So oxygen moves into the blood using diffusion. Diffusion is the movement of molecules from high to low. We learned about that in first semester. Now, eventually those blood vessels are going to bring that oxygen to where it needs to go in the body. Any of our blood cells, our body cells all need oxygen. So as it moves around the body, that oxygen then is going to go from our bloodstream into the cells. So oxygen goes from the blood into the body cells. So again, from high to low. If we take a look at this picture, we can see it's not only oxygen that's going into the cells, it's glucose, so sugar, nutrients. And then notice it's picking up the carbon dioxide too. So again, like these delivery trucks, they're delivering the good stuff, but they're also the waste management trucks picking up the waste as well. And so when that CO2 comes back to the lungs, we're going to eventually breathe it out.